No, it was a good meeting. We just first and foremost kind of looked over the year a little bit, and we looked back. Obviously, and everybody in the room was frustrated with our season, frustrated with losing. This has been 2 years now for me that there've been a lot of losses, a lot more losses than I've ever experienced in my life. So it's been tough. So from that aspect, very disappointing season. Also talked about in terms of me individually, kind of everybody in the room knew that I was sacrificing a little bit to play out of position, or at least not in my natural position. But it was worth it to be able to play. The bottom line was the way our roster makeup was going to make it tough, just with our numbers in the big positions to play the four, just so we could get guys minutes, especially as the season went on. We wanted to see as many guys as possible. And then when I got my opportunity to play the four, did some pretty good things, I think, both offensively and defensively, and can certainly grow from that. I think, as I said last year, it's going to be continuing to work on my body this summer, getting stronger, working out to play at that four position through this year, playing the three, and then obviously early with the hammy stuff happening, it made it a little tougher to throughout the season work on my body as much and then continue to get stronger as I felt like I had during the summer. And I think the hammy was a big setback to start the year off in the first place. So that made everything a little bit tougher. But other than that, I think I grew as a player. I said throughout the year, the more positions, I'm probably not a starting three in the NBA, but the more positions you can play, even for spot minutes, the more valuable you are. So I know what I need to improve on. I got to be a better shooter, a more consistent shooter from range, and then also continue to work on putting the ball on the floor. So got a lot of things to work on heading into the summer, and I'm very excited to know where I'm going to be and be able to be here all summer.
So you get a sense that ship sailed in any scenario of having played three?
Well, I think consistently, yeah. I think everybody knows that wasn't, and they knew all along that wasn't exactly what was best for me individually, but it's what we needed, and I had no problem with that.
But I guess enough to feel like you have to spend an off season doing work at that.
Well, I think I'm gonna train to be a stretch four. We'll bridge that gap if it comes to it again. But I'll be ready. I'll do my best to be ready for anything. But I'm gonna train as if I'm going to be a stretch four next year.
That could be like some more MMA stuff?
It's more MMA stuff, yeah, every once in a while.
It's been a big year for you personally off the court, too. Has that been just kind of juxtaposed this season? How's that been for you?
Yeah, very two kind of opposite ends of the spectrum at times. Getting married was pretty awesome, and then have my son very soon here is very exciting. Probably didn't make my wife happy at times that I came home pretty upset, but that's the life we live. So like I said, I'm very excited for many reasons for this summer.
And what do you want to work on most with your game? You mentioned shooting, obviously, to get to that much higher of a percentage to be a true stretch four, but what do you want to focus on?
Well, I think that's, in terms of on the court, that's number one for me. Just being consistent shooter from three. If you're shooting 38-40% as a four, there are very few guys doing that. I think I'm still known as a shooter for sure, and then people run me off the line. But if I can get my shot quicker, get it more arc on my shot, it'll be a softer shot, and I'll just be more consistent with it. And so, that's all I know is putting in a lot of time in the gym. And the great thing about wanting to improve your shot is all you got to do is shoot a lot of basketballs. So it makes it a little fun for the summer.
Do you have a number that you like to get to, a plan, like I'm gonna make X threes from X spots, or do you approach it at a?
I do. I'm very goal oriented, and I write it all down. Those goals have not been set yet, so I can't give you those numbers. But no, I'm one of those guys that writes everything down on a piece of paper and puts it up in the mirror and stares at it every morning. So you know, goals lead to actions.
What were those goals last year?
Not too different, if I remember correctly. And in that sense, that's why I say I think I'm still a better player than I was last year. But those are the areas I felt like I needed to improve on. I needed to continue to improve on my body. I needed to be a more consistent shooter. And, I think I worked really hard at that this summer, and then had a pretty giant setback that, took the ball out of my hands, made it a lot harder to do my work in the weight room with my hammy. So, on top of wanting to do all those things on the court and then work on myself, another big thing is make sure I don't get hurt.
What do you think is the key for that?
Well, I think last year, to be honest with you, I was probably overworking myself a little leading up to training camp. I was working out in 3 different locations every day, driving between them up to an hour, just because I wanted to be as ready as I could be. That was my first off season really as a NBA player, and I think especially leading up to camp, did a little bit too much, and obviously wasn't training in the best position possible in terms of my body, where I must have been off in some way. That once training camp rolled around, it kind of pushed me over the edge, if you will.
Do you plan on doing any summer league stuff, or is this your summer mostly just going to be kind of training?
We didn't have that conversation upstairs. I think Eric asked me that last night, and I still haven't really thought about it. So, but I'll be here for most of the summer, training here. So, that's the plan.
Have you analyzed the job that Byron did throughout the season, handling you guys even throughout all the losses and the injuries?
No, I think he did as good a job as anybody could do. I mean, guys competed all year. Despite rotations changing, and the organization wanting to get a good look at different players in different positions with different players, I think there was no ill will anywhere. Guys were professionals, and that's a credit to the coaching staff. And then practices were tough, were competitive, and that's what you want. You don't want to be in a position where guys are packing it in early, and things obviously, like I said, didn't go the way we wanted them to, but the fact that guys continue to work and wanted to continue to get better both as individuals and as a group shows what the staff was willing to do for us.